looking at the truth, the money never lie. No, I'm the one, yeah. I'm the one early morning in the dawn. Know you wanna ride now.
The first move that made no sense to me whatsoever was technically a trade, and that was Chris Paul going to the Rockets. I'm talking about this from the perspective of Chris Paul. I believe Chris Paul going to the Rockets and pairing up with one of the most ball-dominant players in the NBA in James Harden makes no sense at all. For me, Chris Paul had to sign with the San Antonio Spurs. It made all the sense in the world. At this point in Chris Paul's career, he's a mid-range shooter. He plays at a slower pace. He needs the ball to create plays. The Spurs would have allowed him to do that. Instead, he pairs up with James Harden, who's a phenomenal player. Not trying to hate on Harden. I love him. I love watching him play. But I love watching James Harden play when he doesn't have to share the ball. And when I mean share the ball, I mean the dominant possession of the ball. He shares the ball plenty. He's a great passer, but he has the ball so much. How can him and Chris Paul coexist and win an NBA championship when they're both very similar players? Greg Popovich would have been a perfect fit for Chris Paul. He's proven in his career that he's a genius at prolonging veterans' careers and making them play at their peak in the NBA playoffs. Do you really think the combination of Chris Paul and James Harden is going to take down the Golden State Warriors? Think again. The next move that made no sense to me at all, we're going to stay in Clipperland, and that's the Clippers signing Blake Griffin to a max deal over 5 years, and then trading on a sign and trade for Danilo Gallinari and paying him a bunch of money as well. And then just as recently as about an hour ago, they signed the European player Teodosic. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Okay, why does this make no sense to me? You lost Chris Paul. Without Chris Paul, Doc, your team stinks. Blake Griffin is not good enough to carry a basketball team because he's never healthy. Let's look at their team. You got the newly acquired point guard from Serbia. You got Rivers and Beverley playing at the 2, Gallinari, Griffin, Jordan. The bench headlined by Lou Williams and Luc Mbah a Moute. Is this team going to beat the Warriors? To me, it made all the sense in the world once Chris Paul left to rebuild. Blow it up. Do you want to be a middling 45-win team for the next 3 years and never have a lottery pick and stay mediocre? Ask the Chicago Bulls how that one went, Doc. The last thing that made no sense to me at all is the New York Knicks. You'll see these flashes of tweets. The Knicks were interested in a bunch of free agents because the Knicks stink. The Knicks have not signed one free agent yet. Not one. Meanwhile, Phil Jackson has completely ruined the trade value of Carmelo Anthony, so they can't move him, and they're stuck. And it's not like they're stuck in the middle like the Clippers are going to be. They're stuck being awful. How do the Knicks not get George Hill? Just offer him a little bit more money than the Kings did for a 1 or 2 year deal to make your team a little respectable while you're trying to develop Porzingis and develop your team. The Knicks are going to be atrocious going forward. They have no president of basketball operations. They have no direction. Their own president, Steve Mills, said that they were going to try and acquire free agents. That was their full focus this summer. They haven't gotten one. A couple other deals that didn't make much sense to me were George Hill and Zach Randolph, but I get what the Kings are trying to do. They're trying to add veteran talent among their rookies and their young players to maybe mentor them. So I guess, although I don't agree with it because I think the rookies and young guys should play a lot more, I guess that makes sense to me. I'm sure there's going to be some other things that are eyebrow-raising, like the Knicks trying to sign Derrick Rose to salvage their free agency. Newsflash, you tried that. It didn't work. You were awful last year.